All right, folks. Pretty cool. Just got a breaking news thing on my Wall Street Journal app. Hospitals aim to resume procedures postponed by Corona. Easy for me to say. Corona virus. Thank God for that. Tomorrow morning, I think it's at 6 or something like that. I have to call my mom tonight. My mom's having her cancer surgery, so I appreciate everybody's, I believe, thoughts and prayers work. So thank you for that. So very happy for my mom. What an interesting week. I mean, literally my car gets stolen on 420. Somebody pointed that out the other day. I'm like, oh my God, dude, your car was stolen on 420. I'm like, of course it was. That's exactly what happens to me. Okay. Couple administrative items. Hey, do me a favor, William, Bill, I don't know what you go by, from Encinitas. Yours is at the stack of books in a crate right here. I'm going to run to the post office. Had a great morning. First of all, EWZ, what a great burner trade. There was a couple, what did I get at, 140s? There was some in the 24 strikes a little while ago. There was some when it was up at its peak. There were, you can see it in this time in sales. There was some 141 prints all the way up there on that. But anyway, as I was standing there, I went to the airport this morning because my middle son, Jack, gotta love middle children, man, because, not that I'm focusing on my oldest son. I'm not going to say that, but, college and trying to be in the Marine PLC program and wants to fly for the Marine Corps since he's mentally slow and likes to eat crayons. But my middle son, Jack, the other day, is like, oh, I'd like to fly, Dad. I'm like, oh, my God, son, I'm sorry. So he's 15. You have to be 16 in order to solo. But I took him out the airport today, dropped him off, shook hands with the flight instructor, and went down a couple hangars down to the L-39 and actually shot a video about it. David, if you logged in early, you would have seen that I did. So pretty cool. Got both my boys, and they're both flying today. They're flying it. Yeah, it's a Diamond, a DA-44 or something like that. DA-44. So got the Flying Buckley's of Boca, man. And then Friday morning. So for all you who want to get bearish, you ready for this? Here's your breaking Buckley. Here's your breaking Buckley news. On Friday morning, we're doing a 2-ship L-39 flight. So what's that mean? If Wiz is going flying or trying to do something fun, it usually means something bad happens. So there's your indicator, your warning. I'm going flying on Friday. I think we're gonna we usually go out over the middle of the state or over the water, beat the hell out of each other, and go land somewhere for lunch, which you have to eat takeout, which is so stupid. Steve, woohoo, puts. Eli, no. So I guess some people are bullish now. Well, I'm joking, but you never know. All right. I was talking about the book. Bill, yours is in do me a favor. If you head over to here, I'll send you one for free. It's $35 for me to sign it and drop it in the mail and take care of the postage and all that stuff. You go say something sweet and nice and give me a kiss. I'll throw one in the mail for free if you give us a nice review here on the Facebook page. And I'll drop one in the mail. Do it soon, and I'll try and get it in the mail today. And here's a quick reminder for all the folks that did. If you didn't get one, this is like the last group. I mean, poor Susie. She's like a pack mule, man. Probably we had to reorder a whole pallet. So there, I think 300-400 books have gone out. And if you didn't get yours, because as people posted reviews, I'm like, hey, dude, thanks, and what's your address? And I thought I did it like at that moment, but there was a spike there in the middle. Do me a favor and write a review, and then when I say, hey, thanks, I usually click like and then send a message like, hey, man, hey, Josh, thank you, Josh, and he just wrote, yep, The Art of Leadership, man. And I'm working on book number 2 right now. All right, enough of all that crap. We have a lot to cover today. The first thing is, here's America. Viral video arrest of Idaho mom at her neighborhood playground. Her effing kids are with her. There's other people there. They're like, who's taking care of her kid? Cops like, get out of my way. I'm very, very pro-police until I'm not pro-police, until they're assholes. And these guys were awful. Look at this lady. This lady's going to be the face of like the new America. I don't even know what happened to her kids. People were like, whoa, look, her kids are here. What's good? Get out of my way. Nice. 1 count of misdemeanor trespassing. Here's America, folks. What a disgusting. You don't even want to watch this, man. I told you, I'm pro police. I was a EMT in high school, man. I was on a volunteer ambulance rescue squad in Absecon, New Jersey, man. Was a first responder. Technically, cops like to call us second responders, right? We were second responders because the cops showed up first and then called the ambulance. Just went to the park, David. Took their kids to the park in a little bit of a little civil disobedience. They weren't near each other or anybody else. Here comes the cops, man. And just absolute. It's a disgrace. I'm furious at this. If the cops or the local DA or whoever don't, Meridian officers made several attempts to help Brady adhere to the rules. Are you shitting me that that's the language that they used? Police officers are going to help you adhere to the rules. She was non-compliant and forced officers to place her under arrest to resolve the issue. A non-compliant mom with her kids in a park. It does, Mike, sound like something from China. This is awful. I just saw this, or trust me, my Twitter account, I'd be lighting this town up. That I'd be finding all this shit out, who the town attorney is and stuff like that. What a disgrace. We fought a war over this shit. It is 1984, Dennis. It's disgusting. Okay, enough. Namaste. Positive energy, man. We're going to have a great session today. And this is, yeah, exactly, Jim. At the same time, you go down to de Blasio in New York and they're letting like career criminals out who are killing people and committing other crimes. Let's throw mom in jail. Let's let prisoners out and fill it full of patriots and mothers. I can't. Yep, serenity now. Yeah, well, the first sit rep or kind of video I did was because of this. So, I mean, it's funny when I make fun of the president now because, of course, I'm a traitor and all sorts of stuff. I made fun of Obama and I was a racist. I make fun of Trump and I'm a traitor. I really don't care what people think. But the president this morning, of course, whenever I wake up, I'm like, do I go meditate first or look at my phone? And the days that I decide to look at my phone, I'm like, crap. The president's tweet this morning. I've ordered commanders to shoot down any patrol boat. I'm like, for the love, Mr. President. I went on my old fighter pilot forum on Facebook. I'm like, are there any boat aces out here? How do you shoot down a patrol boat? So I shared, I'll share it with you. Boats don't fly if you're flying a PBY or something like that, maybe that's what he was talking about. Of course, but it doesn't matter. It's funny because it's funny, first of all, because it's funny, and it's more funny or funnier because, it's because the people with inverted Trump derangement syndrome can't even accept like humor. But here's why I did this little video about it is because it reminded me of flying off the U.S. You'll read about it, shameless plug, in the book when I almost shot down an Iranian helicopter that got airborne out of Bushehr, which is a joint use civilian military field, and was heading straight for the USS Kitty Hawk and wasn't going to deviate its course. I had my Sidewinder master arm on, and I almost vaporized that dude and turned him into hair, teeth, and eyeballs. And you know why that happened? Because I wanted some flight time. I was stuck on the deck. I had a bad identify IFS system, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get airborne. They're going to see that it's bad, and they're going to launch the spare. So not only do I get some flight time, but my buddy's going to get some flight time too. And it went from a good deal, just fly overhead the ship for like an hour and a half and just get some namaste time, to smoking a Lucky Strike and shaking after almost starting World War III. So watch the video if you get a chance, or it's in the book. Subtle plug. What am I getting at? Am I that bad? I was actually, talking. I was on my squawk call, and the reason I had to drop Jack off at the airport for his flight lessons, first of all, because I wanted to, but second of all, because I don't have a car. I had to use my oldest son that was already at the airport flying, and I'm like, oh shit, uh, Jack's not going to walk. But on my squawk call, this is how bad the stuff is in this country, ladies and gentlemen. The day the day after oil hits the lowest price, how many of you? I had to get up. I was literally in my bunny slippers this morning, sending out like an emergency text. Man, I wasn't being rude yesterday uh, to people. There was probably 9,000 questions in the chat box in the PLTB yesterday about getting long the USO. I avoided all of them, or hopefully I said don't trade it, or I have in the past. Folks, step one, I swear to God, man, people don't listen. Please, David, you're welcome. Listen to me. Do not do anything if you don't know what you're doing. I literally have text and yesterday. I'm like, what the fuck, folks? The United States Oil Fund, folks, is not the spot price of oil. So yesterday, people going, we had 1 million Americans yesterday who turned into J.R. Ewing. Well, hell, I'll be paid to take oil. Let me buy some long calls on USO or buy some puts. Or I'm like, oh, for the love of God. You don't even know what the word contango means, but now you're J.R. Ewing in Dallas, and you are going to get shot, right? So, yeah, you're welcome. Listen to me, folks. It's futures. It's not spot oil, folks. This isn't, and it's insanity. They had to wake up today and do a reverse 1-to-8 split. Do you not? There you go, Paul. Listening Wiz saved me a lot of money. I've never heard of such a thing. I've seen VXX do like a reverse 4-for-1. This thing, things can't go to zero. What are you, stupid? Ladies and gentlemen, everybody has seen on CNBC that booger eater, Jeremy Siegel. Hi, I'm Jeremy Siegel from the Wisdom. I'm a This should scare you right here. I'm a professor at the Wharton School of Business. Of course you are. So let me start a Wisdom Tree oil ETF that's triple inverse with a reverse twist split. You know what happened to both of those ETFs? They went out of business. Ladies and gentlemen, any ETF is a business. Breaking news, Top Gun Options has launched the Wiz ETF. Guess what? It can go out of business and go to zero. Don't sit there and think well, I have puts, and if they go to zero, I'm rich. If they go to zero, they went to zero because the dude turned the open sign on his ETF and went to closed, and you're going to get an email that says, yeah, by the way, on page 198 of your prospectus, you didn't read that we can take all your money. J.R. Ewing, you're showing your age, boomer. I'm more like Bob or whatever the Duffy guy is. For the love of God and all things holy, more rambling BS. Who's this? Look at this guy. Here's what I have to do. Look at this guy, and he just left. Who becomes a member here? Thank God this is what I have to deal with, guys. Look at this right here. More rambling bullshit. Rower. Good. I'm glad Rower left because I was going to throw him out of the room and he can leave. Can't stand people like that. Rower. Anyway, guys, more rambling bullshit. I can't. It doesn't copy email address to clipboard. Ooh, I think I got it. Hold on, guys. I want to get this guy, and I don't. The customer is always right. The customer wants to buy calls or puts in USO. The customer is not always right. How do I find this guy? Copy email address to clipboard. Give me 1 second, guys. I want to get rid of people like this. Cracks me up that people, seriously? Hey, where do you work? I want to like come and buy like one of your things and like get rid of you. Got it. Okay. Let me get back to my rambling bullshit because here's the deal, folks. I got it. Is this how cynical is it right now that dudes who run billion-dollar hedge funds said to me this morning? They actually asked. I got asked by a dude who's pretty smart. He's like, the day after oil hits like the spot oil hits the lowest price like in recorded history, the president wakes up and tweets that he's going to blow up some Iranian patrol boats. Oh my God. There's and these aren't Democrats, man. These dudes make Adolf Hitler look conservative. Well, it's whoever just asked that. That's a great question. It's I don't know um, what the whatchamacallit is. The rules of engagement are for how boat, what's harassing or what's a boat. Um, and it's yeah. So can I be that cynical that the president of the United States sends out a tweet and oil prices start to rally? Nestor, you got it, man. Would war drive up the price of oil? Well, here's what's funny, folks. I got a little of this wrong. When was that? Oh my God, I don't remember. Does everybody remember frothing at the mouth back here? Well, Donald Trump's going to get us into World War III. 2 days later, he's in front of the nation going, hey, Iran, we're going to de-escalate a little bit here, folks, because I could kill all of you, but I'm not. What happened to us getting into World War III? I bring that up because of this. Once I got a little bit of tipper from folks that we were going to be doing something, we looked at the market barely moved, folks. Does everybody remember this? Where were you when this happened, folks? Do you remember like the world, we were all going to die and oil prices, they barely did anything. We are a net exporter of oil. And right now, folks, you can't even put oil anywhere. But it was interesting because this 15, 20, 30 years ago, folks, if we had Twitter back then, if Ronald Reagan woke up and said, I'm going to blow up some Iranian patrol boats, the market would have been down 1,000 points and oil would have been up $100. That's what I'm getting at. So, to my buddies who was my cynical hedge fund buddies that were like, oh, come on, dude. The next day he's talking about blowing, war in the Persian Gulf. I'm like, did you not remember what happened back when he was going to kill us all in the fall? Nothing happened. He was the one that came out and said, hey, man, we're net exporters of oil. We don't need, who cares about the Middle East? You can go kill each other. I'm like, holy crap, nice. And the same day that Iran says it launched its first military satellite. Show of technology similar to missile programs as putting a nuke on the top of this. So you guys can use your brain. The day that the attacks happened, you got to love Israel's newspapers because they might as well be classified sources because Israel doesn't mess around. What happened? Israel, around the time of the attacks, they're like, yeah, we had a dude sitting on his roof of his car outside, I will say an air base somewhere in the Middle East, and counted, I think the article said, well, 10 F-35s just launched. And within a couple hours, what happened near a couple nuclear sites and alleged nuclear sites in Iran? Earthquakes. Does everybody remember what happened? Iran attack, earthquake. People don't. Yeah, it's funny. People, when I brief this, people are like, "What are you talking about, dude? You ready for this?" Was that it? 2 earthquakes strike near Iran nuclear plants right around the time that missiles are flying. Let's see. Some dude sitting on his car watching F-35s take off, and then miraculously there's earthquakes around nuclear sites. The next day, ladies and gentlemen, the president of the United States, I forget the name of the hall he came out to. It wasn't the East Wing. It was like that. It was like the foyer of the White House. He came out with the Secretary of Defense, with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, with the head of with Mike Pompeo, with the head of every service. The freaking Coast Guard commandant was up there. What did he say first out of his mouth? He didn't say, "Good afternoon, my fellow Americans." His first sentence, watch the clip, was what? Under my watch, Iran will never be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. Good afternoon, my fellow Americans. Go, yep. It's amazing to me. Yeah, that's so you guys can put 2 + 8 together and get 15. Why am I rambling about this shit with Rower gone? Because, guys, there's still, remember, the market only cares when it cares. This is why I brief a lot of this stuff, is because when the market, if you wake up tomorrow and breaking news, the USS Chancellorville just shot 5, sank patrol boats, and F-4s are launching out of Bouchier, and holy shit, man. Look at your naval history. We shot down a civilian airliner, man, and killed a couple hundred people in the middle of a gunboat battle. I'm rambling about this because this is a square root recovery, man. We kind of got this square root thing going on here. And I've drawn that, and I've drawn that. I've drawn this because there's no way on God's green earth anybody in this room, even all of us combined, lifting, pulling on a rope, are stronger than the Fed. You know who's stronger than the Fed? A war and a crazy lady in charge of North Korea who decides to avenge her brother. You got to look at these threats. Be very, 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 very careful. Okay. Wanted to brief you on those. This dude, I said this a month and a half ago, didn't I? I'm like, I got alphabet agency people that are kind of maybe haven't seen that guy in a while. In case this is news to you, they like to steal women from North Korea, South Korea, Japan. They steal women, folks, and they bring women to this dude. Might have imported his own death. So there's some bad stuff flying around out there. This is a dead horse, man. I'm begging you, for the love of God and all things holy. I wasn't being rude yesterday. I was ignoring your question because you should not be doing anything. You don't know what the hell you're doing. Please do not do this. Stop. Why would you trade something you have no idea? How many times have I told you, man? I card count. When somebody asks me about a stock in the chat box, I'm like, I have no, dude, give me a month. I'll let you know about. That's what's funny. When you guys see me go speak at other events with especially a lot of people like, well, the reverse doji. I'm like, what? What are you talking? You don't even know what the company does, and you're looking at green and red on a stop. Okay, so what am I getting with oil? Stop. Don't even look at it. The fact, and I said this yesterday, I'll say it again today. The fact that oil, like, you can get paid money to take delivery of oil right now, and this stock market isn't at zero, means you should ignore it. The only oil that everybody in this room should be talking about isn't spelled OIL, it's called FED. The only liquid thing you should be worried about is that liquid thing. Ignore oil, folks. If we haven't crashed because oil has crashed, we're not going to. We can. Here comes the whiz hedge. Well, duh. Anything's possible. If the market wakes up tomorrow and decides, if some massive legendary investor, Kyle Bass, or some other dude says, you know what, now we care, well, then all bets are off. But right now, nobody cares. You got it, Bob. The Fed is lubricating markets. All right. Somebody earlier, if you logged in, EWZ, what a great one-day burner, a one-day burner trade. I think it was like $9,200 or something like that. So fantastic one-day trade in EWZ. I don't like day trading. I don't like doing it. But why am I rambling about this now? Somebody posted earlier, like, I can't believe EWZ isn't going down. I can. I said that initially back here. I can't believe it isn't going down. The dude's nuts. He's coughing. He's crazy. And then right about here, I said, I'm done. I'm completely bullish on it. Again, this is a good lesson learned. The market only cares when it cares. What's in the EWZ? If you look at the ETF itself, the B3, the Bovespa, it's a shit pot of oil companies, man. What's it also comprised of? Brazilian financial companies. Wiz, you got Ryan crushed it on EWZ. I like hearing that. He's the only head of state. I hate the nation, but I read all the intel. It's funny when I post something on social media and they're like, oh my God, the New York Times. I'm like, hey man, if the Chinese came into my fighter squadron and dropped their pilot training manual on my desk, would I not read it? You have to read what your enemy's reading, man, or thinks or believes. I love reading liberal stupidity. Anyway, but the nation, this is a pretty damn good article about, how the dude's nuttier than Trump. I'm not going to dig into this too much because we beat EW. Yeah, I'll post this here. Read this when you get a cup of coffee after we're done. And I got to move because I want to talk through Apple and a tactic that a lot of people should most likely be doing in this type of market, but aren't. So we talked last week. What did I say was going to happen? I'm not Nostradamus. This is what happens. Rally up to a moving average, in this case the 50. I said if we hit it with airspeed, it's going to keep going with momentum and algorithms. If we don't hit it, we're going to do what? I said we're going to chop sideways around what? 2,800. What are we doing? Chopping literally around this 2,800 level. What is the closest alligator to this boat right now? Again, man, it seems you want to talk, and again, I hate saying these words. I'm going to say it. COVID fatigue. Man, it seems like a year ago, 3-4 weeks ago, I'm like, oh my God, 5 million people out of work. The next week, 6 million. Oh my God, the next week. And the Fed says, don't worry about how many people are out of work. We'll take care of the stock market. You just sit on your hands there, man. Okay. So weekly unemployment claims. What's the number supposed to be? Where is it? Scroll up, scroll down. 4.5. That's an M, folks. That's a million. There ain't no K. Well, it is a K, but do the math. Let's just look at a graphic. Oh my man. Now, you ready for this? I feel like Andrew Cuomo right now. Well, we're flattening the curve here. What? I mean, you can't. It's just. But I think we got COVID fatigue. Nobody, the people I talk to, nobody cares. I mean, I'm not going to say it. That's rude. They care, but they're trading and nobody cares. Why? You can't stop America's best companies, the FAGM stocks. Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Google, Alphabet, Microsoft. We're going to talk about Apple today. I am definitely, I have a call later with people smarter than me. We're talking Amazon. Yo Soy Wiz, might be buying a boatload of Amazon calls. I hate trading earnings, and of course this time it'll be miserable. Look at Netflix, man. Netflix is just Netflix. They don't own Netflix Air. They don't own Netflix Pharma. They don't own Netflix Web Services. They don't own 9,000 warehouses around the world that you can buy everything from a tennis racket to an L39 at. So we'll see. Did the CalPERS guy get fired? A bunch of people sent me some stuff yesterday. I was trying to weed through everything. Did everybody see where this guy worked? This guy worked like in China for 7 years. Kevin, no, that's exactly right. This is the flight to safety. How many times have I said recently? These are the safe stock. I called them MAGA. 2 months ago, I said, you want to go? Liquidity goes somewhere, folks. Money's going somewhere. Stupid money goes into the USO. Smart money goes into these things. But this guy, I think who was it? Legendary investor, Kyle Bass, believes this guy's at a CCP plant. Talk about smart, man. If you were China, let's get the world sick. Let's buy the world's stock and companies. Let's put our dudes and ladies into the hedge funds and pension systems and make them make stupid trades. Yeah, I don't think he got fired yet either, which just tells you how stupid Wall Street can be. How about this yesterday, man? How about Harvard? Harvard Harvard, $40 million, billion dollar. Sorry, I even got it wrong. $1 billion endowment. $1 billion endowment. Yeah, the Manchurian hedge fund manager. Shake Shack, Ruth Chris, Fogo de Chao. Look at these companies, man. I got dudes that are literally wanting to walk out of their building, their rooftop in New York City, and that's it. They can't get a dime from the government. And here we are. Can you believe these companies getting this much money? A couple of these companies were going bankrupt. This one, where's the one? There's some like wind company. Look at this guy, Shake Shack CEO, Randy Garudi, on returning $10 million government loan. Randy's returning it because Randy got caught. I can't stand people who say, well, at least the guy admitted to it. Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer was a good dude because he admitted to killing and eating people because he got caught. Was he just going to walk up and go, hey, I'd like to admit this because I feel bad? I can't even. Harvard has enough money. Oh, somebody sent me last night. I'm sorry. I get great stuff from you guys. I appreciate it. Um, like everybody, and it's first of all, ain't nobody poor at Harvard. The median income was like 168,000, which is the top 98% of families in this country. They could pay for like every student to go to Harvard for free for I forget what the math is. What is it, like 100 years? Can you f? This is America right now, folks. It's a disgrace. This one solar wind company, like up in Illinois, was going bankrupt and they got like $20 million. There's some idiot on my Facebook page like defending this. Oh, what if they kept the employees? I'm like, no, dude. Payroll, it's for COVID. It ain't for you suck. Welcome to life, employees of America. You're talking to a dude who, during a last crisis in this country, lost his airline job, man, and now I'm freaking sitting here. Get over yourself. Get up and stop relying on the United States government to take care of you. John Adams would punch you in the face. Publicly traded firms get $365 million in small business loans. America. Did you see Mnuchin yesterday? Well, the federal government, the intent of this is to this, and if you, I did like this. I talked to my sister for a while last night because she's my mom up in New York City, and my sister Key is taking care of her. It's great having her as an asset. I'm sorry, Kia, as a sister. she beat the shit out of me. But Mnuchin did say, well, there was a sentence on that form that somebody signed that said, hey, this money is definitely needed and we're in dire straits. And if the attorney general does not start going and looking into this, they need to be held accountable. Last time we did this, Occupy Wall Street, and Elizabeth, I can't believe I'm going to agree with this lady. There were some CEOs that should have went to jail. It's theft, ladies and gentlemen. No, it's not. How's it the bank's fault, folks? Because little Mario or Marco, little Marco Rubio from Florida is like, this was designed for speed, right? This was designed for, let's if and here's what Marco said. Well, this was kind of took a while to get money going to people. Could you imagine, what if we had to needed forms and had to do approval? I get that, but I told folks, I'm furious at the president. Do you remember what this guy ran on? What were you supposed to do your taxes on? You don't have to type it. I'm going to tell you because I have a little card right here. I do my note cards on for my show and our labs and my action items. Remember that? The president holding up like a 3x. This is bullshit. IRS gone. Forget about it. Tremendous gone. Nobody does gones like me. Huge gone. I think I just filled out a phone book for my taxes. The United States government should, quote unquote, know exactly how much you made last year. They should have had a web page with a couple fields. What was your W-2 income last year? Enter into this field. What's your W-2 income year to date? Enter into this field. Before clicking submit, if you're lying, because we know what you reported, you're going to jail for 10 years. And within an hour, you're going to get these funds. What was your 1099 income last year? Submit. This was not hard. James, mine was 68 pages long. I'm furious at this. Jeff, you got it, man. They got copies of your W-2s and 1099s from all your. I love that little meme that comes out. It didn't this year because we're all, in prison around tax time. Taxes are the government knows, how much do I have to pay? And remember, I'm no big Warren Buffett fan here, but the guy's got a great Warren Buffettism. He's like, hey, man, if you pay one penny more in taxes, you're an idiot. If you pay 1 penny less, you're a felon. I want you to think about that. Doesn't that make sense? If you literally pay 1 penny less than is required to the penny, you're technically a felon. You're a criminal. If you pay 1 penny more, what an idiot. You're giving money away. Our tax system sucks. I'm not going to turn this into a rant about that, but I'm furious about how they did this. The banks weren't supposed to be like approving anybody. They were supposed to be a vehicle. Don't even tell me about my one buddy who's like, dude, you wouldn't believe where this money and the fees that they're collecting. I'm like, you're not doing what Wells Fargo did? He's like, dude, they only said that for this one small program. The press took the headlines out of. I'm like, oh no. Oh man. So some people are like, Wiz, mortgages going out of business and this and that. Aren't the banks going to collapse? If you think the banks are going to collapse, I'll meet you in Montana with all our guns and if that happens, we're all at war. It's not going to happen. JP Morgan, Goldman. Speaking of, good segue. Let's get tactical. Last week we talked about Goldman Sachs being the Death Star. What a great, 165, 160, the regular May. Let's review our current trades. I didn't get filled on this in AR, which sucks. Was it the regular May? 160. Was it 165, 160 bull put spread? What's it at? $1.25. Okay, that's a hold. I'm going to hang out on that one. You know what? I'm actually gonna. I don't have the AR portfolio up because I'm doing a demonstration of the covered call thing. So let's get into that. I went a little long, so let's do this. Okay. Hopefully, yeah, this is a hold. When I get out of here and go over to the AR, no kidding portfolio, I'm going to try and get filled on that Goldman Sachs. I don't think that's in there right now. Okay. Yeah, you could do that. That's not a bad idea, to be honest with you. Lincoln, I love that name, Lincoln. That's not a bad idea. The only reason we didn't, I will do that. I like that idea, man. Let's take a look real quick at the, what is he talking about, folks? I'm sorry. An Iron Condor. That's a great idea. 175. Let's take a look at the at the money straddle and see what the options market, not just me looking at a chart, is thinking as far as price range. Down as low as 156 and up as high as 193. Okay. It's a quick little Kentucky windage here. And I got a great debrief from one of the guys, maybe 185, 190, from one of the guys in the Afterburner group. I need to spend, and it really hit home. Here's how smart, even for an Air Force guy, he's pretty smart, which is saying a lot. He's like, dude, I'm watching the full. You listen to this guy. He's like, I've almost watched all the 2019 full throttles, and I'm going back to 2018. I'm like, oh, what if I said that for people to do that? There are actually people listening to me, because I guarantee you the October full throttle Iron Condor session is different from February's. Not in the fact that the Iron Condor changed. It's been like that for 30 years. It's the color around it. Oh, there you go, Patrick. Please, I'm begging you to go do this. But the debrief point that he gave me is solid, because back then it looked like this. It was like little, little to medium S, little to medium O, and in these live trade briefs, it was a massive freaking T. I spent, I'll be anecdotal, 80, 75% of the time down here. Now, to be honest with you, that's flipped and it's wrong, and I need to fix it. This is how we look now, and that's bad. Okay. Why? Because I'm ripping through trades. Back in the day, I did do the whole, I'd spend an hour doing an iron condor in these live trade briefs. And then I did the full throttle stuff. And I'm like, well, what a waste. Dude, go watch the iron condor session so I can focus on all this type of stuff. There's got to be a happy medium, folks, okay? Because I know a lot of you aren't listening to me and going and doing what I'm telling you to do. Does that make sense? Exactly, Kevin. Kevin's like, dude, there are golden nuggets in every one of these sessions. I'm begging, I don't beg, man. I'm begging you to do, if an Air Force guy can do it, you can do it. Go watch all of these. I forget how far back they go, man. If you are focused on a tactic right now, which we're going to cover in a covered call, go watch all 5 covered call briefs from the past 5 years. You will be freaking brilliant. You'll walk on the rice paper and won't leave a trace. Tom, God, I'm glad I was Navy. Me too. 180. Let's go out to May. Let's see, how many did we do of this? Of gold. I love Goldman Sachs, man. I'm more of a J.P. Morgan Jamie Dimon guy now. Gorman's good over at Morgan Stanley. 25 of these. Let me just build this and then I'm going to talk through it. I am going to do the T. It was 10. Okay, so well, what did I say? No, we got to sell those call. What did I say? 190 was the upper. Yeah. Okay. So here's the here is the top. So here's the verbiage I will use. So let's get tactical. All right. Yeah, I know. 190s. There ain't no reward up there. You got to take a little risk here. I'm looking to sell 25 of the regular May expiration 187 and a half calls, right? 187 and a half calls. What if you're wrong, man? The Fed jumps into safe capitalism again, and Goldman Sachs just has some sort of rip your face off rally. Okay, well, super. Well, the bull put spread's going to start making a ton of profit. But if I'm not paying attention and it just rips higher, we're going to buy what we term our upside calls. So we're long Goldman Sachs above 190 in case it does decide to rip higher and hit that upper part of the straddle. Okay, so I'm neutral to bearish, not really bear. I'm neutral on Goldman Sachs. I'm using calls, and this is a spread. This tactic is called a bear call spread. Okay. It's also called a credit spread, bringing in a credit of 1875 to do this trade. Okay. But I am, quote, legging in to an iron condor because we already have I don't in AR, but I'm saying in the portfolio itself has a bull put spread. Okay. This account actually on the screen is a live account, and it's not mine. It is my beautiful bride's GS Goldman Sachs 422. So I'm definitely not giving you investment advice, but I'm going to show you what I do in her account for her in a couple minutes. Okay, as soon as I click on analyze, we're going to look at one place and one place only, and that is max potential loss. If everything went to hell in a handbasket in this trade, that would mean Goldman Sachs is ripping higher. Not necessarily hell in a handbasket. That's probably good news for the overall market if Goldman Sachs just decides to rip higher. But you have to sit here and go, hey, man, is that acceptable with me? You're an aviator. You're an options aviator. And you go, check. I understand my risk. Acknowledged, Wiz. I'm the pilot in command. I signed for my own airplane. But theoretically, or not theoretically, if you already have the bull put spread on, this ain't the max risk. It's probably a fraction of that. And I can show you the whole Iron Condor, but we need to go over to Apple here in a couple minutes. So there's a plug. That's the time I'd use. Go watch the Iron Condor lecture, because the max risk in the Iron Condor ain't going to be that. Now that I put a check mark here and go, dude, I got it, man. That's not going to make me happy if I lose that, but I acknowledge it. Now you can bring your eyes up to Mr. Mrs. Gender Neutral Happy and say, okay, $1,900. Underneath those things are probabilities. Those probabilities are literally, as the word probability leaves my mouth, those are at the money probabilities based on these options flying around in the background. Okay, that's a pretty high probability trade. 71% probability of making $1,900 in 3 weeks, whatever it was, 3-4 weeks. We, in a bear call spread, can profit 3 out of 4 ways. That dotted line on the screen right there is Goldman Sachs as I'm speaking to you. How do we make money? It goes down, cha-ching. Goldman Sachs can do what it's doing right now and just hang out, cha-ching. Folks, Goldman Sachs can even go up, cha-ching, as long as it stays below there, which is where? That's called what? The break even. 188.25 right there. If it's 188.25 and 188.24 technically and below, you make some scratch. Okay? Now, a little bit of a review. Let's go over to Analyze and Trade Lab. This, folks, I'm telling you, you can go other places, knock yourself out. I actually watched one of these the other day. I went to the OIC just to go watch all sorts of stuff, man. There was a 3-hour presentation on the Greeks. I'm like, after 50 minutes I left. I'm like, I just can't. No. Here's what you need to know about the Greeks in this case. When you sell something, when the Porsche dealer is selling me my new car, the detective called a little while ago. He's like, dude, we're checking somebody's ring. Leave it to me. I don't have a ring. Shocker. But the neighbor caught somebody. So they're checking the SunPass records and stuff like that. They're like a detective on it. Anyway, how do I get to talking about it? Oh, the theta, right? We get time decay, man. As this trade goes forward in time, you make money on it. Keep your eye down there on theta. Positive. You make money. Remember one of the Wiz sayings. So there's theta. I was a Phi Delta Theta in college. I know what theta symbol is. If Goldman Sachs is unchanged on the day, you get time decay. Say it with me. Unched on the day equals time decay. You make money every day that goes by. If you did the opposite of this trade, a debit spread, unched on the day sucks. You lose money. When I buy this Porsche today or tomorrow, whenever I'm getting this damn thing, as soon as I take the keys, I lose money. The dude that sold it to me, he's happy and hops. They're driving it down from Orlando. Okay. So unched on the day equals time decay. Did I grab a screenshot of this? No, I didn't. All right, let me grab a screenshot of the metrics, and then we have got to do covered calls. Hopefully everybody, and again, folks, there's a disclaimer. There's a 2-side disclaimer at the beginning of this brief. I am not giving you investment advice, and this is actually Susie's account, and she certainly ain't giving you investment advice, so we're even more legal. Anyway, yeah, exactly, Doc. You got it, Rouge. I'm getting a 911, man. I had a 911 when I was flying Hornets in Texas, and I had a brief airline. No, I was at FedEx for 10 months. I flew for FedEx for 10 months, wanted to hang myself, and then went to American Airlines, and September 11th, the rest of it is history. Here we go. This is fantastic. So let's talk. First of all, I can't stand Apple. I thought Steve Jobs was a tyrant. I loved him as a CEO. I think Tim Cook is awful. I can't stand the company. When the San Bernardino terrorist was shooting up America with his wife, may they both burn in hell, the FBI's like, dude, open this guy's phone. We need to see if there's more terrorist attacks. If this is September 11th, please help America. Booger eater Tim Cook. No, the value of the privacy of our Apple holders is paramount to your security. Fantastic, as you sell iPhones in China, made in China with spy gear all over it for the Chinese government. Glad you can bow to your dear Chinese overlords while you're using 10 and 11-year-old kids. Has everybody seen? Let me go on my anti-Apple rap and then tell you, as Gordon Gekko, how I'm printing money for my wife. Trading Apple suicide nets. China. Love how the president says China. Every day when we're watching the press conference on the Afterburner thread, whenever he says China, we have to do a shot. Life and death in Apple's forbidden city. There's the people that build your iPhone, folks. Where there's their room. Where's the outside? Oh, yeah, that's it. No, wait, there's a better picture. If you don't want to know who builds your iPhone and the suicide nets that are outside of, there's all threw himself from building. Where's the picture I'm looking for? It's a picture of the buildings, these dorms that these people live in, and they have nets sticking out of the sides of the building. I'm not going to sit here and you just do your own. It's a disgrace. iPhone City. Hey man, my ad block, whatever, guys. Go look at the pictures of these nets that they put on the side of the building so people don't kill themselves. I saved it somewhere. Yeah, it's probably scrubbed by the Chinese government. Good point. Anywho, here's the deal. A covered call means this. You own the stock. Now, as an options trader, that literally makes my skin crawl. So Monday morning, ladies and gentlemen, let me brief you what I did this week for my beautiful bride. I bought 900 shares of Apple stock. So this was a $100,000 account like on January 1st for Susie. With margin, she can buy up to 300 grand or whatever it is. I appreciate it, guys. You don't have to give me the link. There's a bunch of people putting the links to the pictures in there, but let's move on. People can do it on their own. So she bought, and I'm going to tell you this, starting around January, every Monday, I would buy, I think we started out at 300 shares in her account. That grew to about 4, and you can do the math. By Monday morning, after I get done with this tactic, she's going to be able to buy 1,000 shares of Apple in her account, because of margin. So here's the deal. First of all, you can do what? Remember, folks, and some of you are dealing with this, and it's not me, clearly. It's not, I'm dealing with this right now, too. I'm trying to move a very big, actually 2 accounts from TradeStation to E-Trade. Does everybody, if you're doing this, it's an ass pain. The transferring broker, there's no regulatory CFTC, SEC, page 92 of your brokerage agreement that says, hey, when you close your account here, we're going to be super fast about it and really care. Nobody cares. When you close your account at a broker, first of all, they're upset that they're losing your business and they drag their feet. Every day that goes by, they're making money on net interest margin, all sorts of stuff. They're making money off of your money sitting there. So There's your dirty secret about Wall Street and brokerage firms. So I get it. Moving money across sucks. But anyway, in her account, this is why am I rambling about this? Because I'm the options trader. Buying 1,000 shares of stock makes my skin crawl. Okay, why? Because guess what? We're eating up a shit pot of capital buying 900 shares of Apple. Do the math, it's on the screen. That's a lot of money. I could have 90,000 spreads on and iron condors on EW. But guess what, man? Kind of like solo Amazon. Look at solo Apple. This is why we do SOT. Look at the damn, hey, coronavirus can't stop. You could buy shares across these companies, man. I'd concentrate on one because check out the math that I'm about to show you. One of the reasons, well, and first of all, it's just diversified. I got options accounts, trade my ass off. I'm taking care of the bride. I'm going to own these she's going to own these forever. First of all, Apple has a shit pot of cash, man. We did it. Whoever said the other 250 billion, whatever it is, man, it's more than I got. And it used to be a lot better than this, but they have a dividend. So they can do, even though this is frowned upon right now. Does anybody see like breaking news on the bottom of the screen that says, breaking news, Apple demands a government bailout? Breaking news, the government says that Apple, since they're bailing Apple out, they can't buy. But no, man, Apple ain't taking it. They're going to keep buying back their shares. And someday, soon, they're going to, on an earnings call, go, dude, not only are we announcing a $1 billion share buyback, we're going to increase our dividend. Cha-ching and cha-ching. So I'm kind of giving you my strategic mindset because I'm staring right now at my phone, which is an Android, and my wife's phone, which is an Android, but we got booger eaters in the family, Keely, Jack, and Matthew, with all their Apple products. It's a solid freaking company. What's the risk to Apple? China. Do a shot. China. I remember at the height of this crisis, folks, I told you back here that the Chinese Foreign Ministry actually said the words Apple. Like in the middle of this trade war back here, what did they say? Hey, Apple, knock, knock, knock. You know those 11-year-olds? They might not show up to work tomorrow. If this trade war gets worse, you're the first company to get clipped. Does everybody remember what happened that week? I told you what happened that week. Tim Cook got in his little hybrid and drove to Washington, had dinner with Trump or lunch or whatever. Does everybody remember our Mussolini Trump coming out with it? Like, hey, just, he MFs Apple and this guy forever. The guy comes and kisses his ring. And what happened? This was back in September or whatever when the president said what? Yeah, you know what? I'm going to punt on those tariffs. I don't want to be Grinch and screw up Christmas. Please tell me you remember this. Tim Cook actually went to the White House and said, dude, this trade war gets worse, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. I'm giving you all this background because that's why I'm in it, man. It's got like a Trump, us, everything put underneath it. Okay. So not only do you have, and it's not Amazon, guys. It might be this year. It wasn't for the past 2 years. For the past 2 years, the number one holding of every hedge fund is that. One of the reasons this thing hasn't imploded because of all the risk and everything is that's where dudes and ladies are going right now. All right, enough. That's what I'm getting at is the fact that this is safe. Money is going people is going there. Okay. Today I'm just going to cover the covered call and kind of a collar. Some other day or whenever we'll cover like the long call diagonal or synthetic stock with this. Today I'm just going to cover the covered call. It is, Joe. It's better than a T-bill. That's a great way to put it. So, all right, here we go. So on Monday literally Monday morning, where's the orders? Monday morning, last 3 days, yeah. Bought 900 shares of Apple at $279, filled. Then what did I do? I'm long Susie, not me, not giving you investment advice, and neither is Susie. I'm long 900 shares of Apple. What did I do? I went out to Friday and I sold 9, right? 9. How many contracts of 900 shares can I do? I can do 9 contracts. I sold 9 contracts of 280. So that was me saying by Friday, when I sold these calls, I'm like, hey, Apple, yo, what's up, Wiz? I don't think you're going to be above 280 by Friday. Okay, dude. So you're kind of an insurance company right now. If we'll pay you, for that. And yeah. So what happened? What's 9 times 5, guys? Into the account immediately I was given $4,500. You know what happens on Friday at the closing bell if Apple is above 280 or below 280? What happens to that $4,500? I have it. Susie has it. Okay. I'll talk through like if it's above and below and all sorts of stuff. Exactly, Dutch. So let me just do some rough math. You ready for this? $4,500 times 52 trading weeks. Enter. I'm going to let that sink in. Some weeks, that might be more. I might be able to $234,000 annualized. That's not even counting what I just briefed you. The dividend, add that in there, and the difference between what? Where I bought the stock, 279.05. What if it does go up to 280? Well, guess what? She makes that money too. Doing some rough cocktail napkin math. It's not 5 o'clock yet. I'm not drinking. Let's just be conservative and say that is $250,000 a year. I want to let that sink in. Okay. Now, let's talk through what happens on Friday if it's at 280 and 1 cent. You know what happens? Cha-ching. Susie keeps $4,500. And Saturday in Chicago used to be like the busiest day in the world. Like when you went in, so Saturday, when do options expire? Friday at the closing bell. When do they settle? The next day. So in the old day, now they settle like almost instantaneously. What I'm saying is like Saturday, dudes used to go in and you had a book, folks. You had books in the old days. I sent the Trading Places clip to folks in the Afterburner thread just to kind of give them a little reminder of how price works and momentum and people like, hey man, somebody's buying a shitload of these Brazil calls. They must know something. It's just us. So if on Friday the stock is above my short strike, Saturday morning when I go out in my bunny slippers to get my Wall Street Journal and a new car better be there this Saturday, guess what happens? These shares are gone from my account. And what are they replaced with? Sweet, gorgeous, tremendous, nobody does cash better than me, tremendous cash. 900 shares times $280 is back in the account. I mean, minus the margin, of course. Right? So what happens Monday morning in my bunny slippers? I pick up my Wall Street Journal. I come back in here, and now, based on the $4,500 that she made this week, I'm probably going to be able Monday morning to do what? Buy 1,000 shares of Apple. And as I'm sitting here drinking my coffee, I'm going to go out to that Friday, next Friday's, and I'm going to sell some out of the money calls or at the money calls. I'll get to that in a minute again. All right, Wiz, let's sell 10 of next Friday's 280 calls. Holy crap, for the love of God and all things holy, you're making $7,300 next week. No, I'm not. Susie is. Ladies and gentlemen, $7,300 times 52 trading weeks equals 340. Everybody smiling yet? Scott, this tactic is called a covered call. John, Lincoln, you got it. Rinse and repeat. John, I don't do anything on Friday. So let's go back. Friday afternoon, I'm probably still going to be flying. This is pajama money, folks. When the closing bell sounds on Friday, if it's above 280, you don't do anything, folks. It's called swept. Saturday, the shares are, quote, swept from your account. Guess who gets them? This lady or this dude. Because remember, when I sell something, remember, sellers have obligations, buyers have rights. Right now, with this Orlando Porsche dealer, I'm a buyer. I have the right to buy this car at what the dude just sent me his last quote. Now I'm going to lowball him again. Anyway, but I have a right to buy this car. The seller, if I hit his price, which I'm not for now, he is obligated. So, folks, when I sold 9 of these 280 calls Monday morning and drinking my coffee, I am obligated to deliver Apple Friday at the closing bell at 280. If it's above 280, obviously. If it's below 280, folks, here's what you want to do, right? Is you want to do what? Or you want Apple, because you're you, or you're like me, you want Apple to be at what on Friday? $279.99, right? That's just what you want to do. Okay. So now let's talk. So if I just told you what happens if it's above 280. If it's above 280, you don't do anything, folks. You're not driving to Chicago to settle. This is all electronic. Okay. Now let's talk about potential profit. So right now, folks, these short calls are up. Whoops. Let me stop. These short calls are up what? 66% in 2.5 days. 2.5 days into the week, Susie's made $3,000. What could I do right now? Let's use the same SOP. Write that word down since some of you don't have one. Standard operating procedure. I treat short calls, these things right here, the same way I treat a bear call spread. What do I mean by that? I take profits if I'm seeing 70, 80, or 90% profit on the credit that I took in. Right now, well, then I'm not going to close those right now. So I'm not. But you ready for this? Think of this, folks. I call this the option wheel. Think of a hill right there and a barrel. This is Apple. This is all I'm going to keep doing. To be honest with you, I don't manage these calls, but you can. Because there are some people who I never understood this. Well, Wiz, I don't want the stock called away on Monday. Or this. You know what? Let me brief this scenario. Remember, I'm obligated to deliver 900 shares of Apple at $280 on Friday. If between now and Friday, folks, let's talk through. Everybody just hold on in the chat box for a second. Please hold your question. This is awesome. Between now and Friday expiration, Friday morning, I'm driving to the airport, L39, and go flying. Breaking news, there's rumors that Tim Cook is going to be replaced by Jesus Christ himself. The stock's really up in pre-market. You know what I could do? Oh, shit, man, that stock might start to go on a run if Jesus, with his Jesus cleats, is the CEO. I might buy these calls back to close them so the stock can rip. So, but here's the deal, folks, with this tactic. This tactic sucks if you're the dude or the lady who on Friday, if Apple, breaking news, Apple cured COVID. If you have an iPhone, it just sent you a link and you're cured. Apple closed Friday at $400 a share. If you're the type of investor, folks, that's going to go, son of a bitch, Wiz, I hate people like this. I could have made an extra. You have to ask yourself, are you happy making money or not? The people in this room who give me the yeah, comma, but I could have made more, I want to throw out of the window. Pigs get slaughtered. Now let me go back to here. So that's the only, first of all, what's the risk in this trade? folks, everybody in this room should be able to tell me the risk in this trade. The risk in this trade is Apple goes to zero. One of the reasons I'm doing this trade is because if that happens, we all are dead from a North Korean nuke. Can it? Sure. Can it go Bear Stearns, Pets.com, Enron? Yeah, it's not. Let's brief the risk. So let me give you your my SOP for this. Exactly, Phil. A lot of yeah buts. Here's my SOP for short calls. Pay attention. Nobody type in the chat box because I want to focus on giving you this good rule of thumb. Because you're probably sitting there like, you sold some at the money calls on Monday, Wiz. I did. Why? Because I knew, I am Nostradamus sometimes. I knew this week was going to look like this a little bit, especially for Apple after that. So, but let me give you my SOP. Start paying attention a lot. If the stock is kind of doing this, it's flat, or you can do this with an ETF, guys. If the stock is, I'm going to give you a little diagram. Do this, draw this little Venn diagram, an arrow like that, an arrow like that, an arrow like that, and then this one. So here we go. If the stock is relatively level, I sell weekly or front month upside calls that are 2.5 to 5% ODM out of the money. Why? Well, folks, if you sell calls that are all the way up here, you ain't going to jump into the options market tomorrow with your shiny new boots like, haha, I'm brand new in here and you're going to pay me a lot for nothing. Next, you can't sell calls all the way up here and expect to make any money. They're going to have to be closer to the money down here. So again, if the stock is kind of just hanging, 2.5 to 5. ODM out of the money. Let's say that the stock is on a little bit of a climb schedule, let's call it. That looks like a climb. What's a climb schedule? I don't know. You're taking off in a 777 out of Miami in the summer. It's climbing. It ain't super climbing. Okay. 7.5 to 10%. What do I mean by that? 7.5 to 10% of that. What's 10% of 275? 27.5. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'd sell calls that are about $27.5 above the stock price. Why 7.5 to 10, Wiz? Well, dude, the thing's on a little bit of a climb schedule. If you do 2.5 to 5, the stock's gonna get a call away from you, which can be fine. But if you want to keep the damn thing and earn some scratch, and it's on a good climb schedule, use that rule of thumb. Okay. Now this one's a no-brainer. If the thing's on a tear, get out of the way, man. Put your boots up on the table, smile, put your hands behind your head, and put a cigar in your mouth and light it with a $100 bill. That's percentage, yes. If the stock, write this down. This should be breathing to you. If the stock is on a tear, either join it, I'll tell you what I mean in a second, or get out of the way. What do you mean by join it? Holy crap, man, this thing's rocketing. Buy some calls. Sell a bull put spread. Join it. Or don't sell upside calls. Just get out of the way and enjoy your profits. If by Friday this is at $279 and I kept the $4,500 and Monday comes along, hey, I hear Apple. When's Apple's earnings, by the way? Thank God I just said that. Yeah, this is I know, man. You're welcome. I'm taking my time today. I was reminded that I did a better job in the past and I need to do better today. When the hell's, did we look this up yesterday? Oh, April 30th. Aha! Perfect example, guys. When's April? I am not selling any calls next week, man. As a matter of fact, well, I could talk through that if that happens. I mean, let's say Apple has a massive earnings pop. Guess what I'm going to do that day of earnings? Let's say hopefully it's got some good earnings. As the thing pops, I'm probably going to sell some calls for that Friday a couple days later and bring in some sweet premium. Sound like the Dr. Pepper guy. All right, let's go to the other one. All right, I covered this, flat. I covered good climb schedule. I covered rip your face off, F-18 climb. Guess what I do with, because somebody asked earlier, like, hey, what if it's going down in price? The best, first of all, it's Apple, right? The whole time you're selling these calls, what are you doing, folks? When you're selling these upside calls or at the money calls, you're bringing in money. What did that do to your cost basis of the stock? I'm going to tell you, when I was an options trader, this is how I got into options, man. I owned a bunch of stock. One of my buddies is like, dude, why aren't you selling calls against those? I'm like, ooh, options are crazy. You're nuts. Leave me alone, devil worshiper. And with an hour after buying him lunch at the Officers Club in Key West, I never looked back. Exactly, Robert. You lower your cost basis. Wiz just brought in $4,500 for his bride. What did that do to the price of his Apple stock? Lowered it. But folks, guess what? If Apple's, look at this thing. If Apple's going down, what do? I might even sell. I'll definitely at the money calls, but you could even sell in the money calls. Holy, wait a minute, Wiz. We're at 275. You sold the 280s out the Friday up here? Yeah. If you want to, I just don't. In this tactic, folks, for my beautiful bride, I don't care if the stock gets called away. There are some people who are like, I want to keep it. Folks, remember, if you hold the shares on the day that it goes what? Ex-div? Where's quote? The ex-div date. Dividend yield 1. Blah, blah, quarterly, blah, blah, pay a dividend payment date, whatever. Folks, if you're doing these covered call things, you're going to be a shareholder on that date. So you get the damn extra coin. Okay. Jeff, there is, and I'm not going to cover it. I appreciate the mutual support. I'll read what Jeff wrote since I didn't write it. It says what? Could be tax liability going in and out, but you have to do that on your own. There you go. So, Zool, Jeff just answered it. Zool said, watch all covered call videos. Great tactic. What are the basic tax implications if stock is called away? Short-term capital gains, just asking. No, you are not a tax guru, but you know someone who is. What did we do 2 weeks ago, guys? I didn't do it, they did it. We did a webinar that what? For traders accounting. Folks, you should be trading through an LLC, first of all. Everybody else just answered. David, no tax implication retirement account. If you're making money, taxes are the cost of doing business. Chris says not IRA accounts. Jay says Roth and IRA strategy. All right, it's a tactic. Anyway, so I'm not going to answer any of that, guys. It's that you are the pilot. There's 405 people in here. There's 405 pilot in commands. I'm showing you what this aviator does while flying his wife's airplane. She got filled on the bull put spread, the FXI. So she's in that one too. Now, this is weekly. I'm doing weeklies. Matthew, you absolutely can do this with synthetic stock. Right now, Susie's account is eating up a shit pot of capital with 900 shares. She could do this same tactic for a fraction of the cost, and it would be called synthetic stock. You're absolutely right. But remember, since we've all watched the synthetic stock lecture repeatedly, what don't you get with synthetic stock? You don't get the dividend, right? And this, for my wife, this is the tactic I'm choosing to do for her. Yeah, whoopee. Some stocks don't produce dividends. I mean, Amazon, if you did this with Amazon, I'm telling you, man, there are buddies of mine that have like private jets that run hedge funds where they own Amazon stock and they sell calls against it, and they with these massive returns, and they look like they're Gordon Gekko. I'm like, dude, I know what you're doing. It's so stupid. He's like, well, a lot of my investors think this is brilliant. I'm like, yeah. Ed, why does my screen say negative? When it's positive, you're long something. When it says negative, you're short something. I am short 9 calls, right? I am short 9 of these calls, but I am long 900 shares. So that means it is a covered call. Let's take a look at a monthly, right? I'm really, really, really going to really, yeah, Microsoft would be a great one to do this. I'm really going to date myself. I was in the board of trade. I lived in Chicago. I was building the options news when what? When weeklies came out. Oh, you youngins running around here. Back in my day, we had that and these. They're starting to come up with daily options, guys. I mean, if there's an extra way to make money in the options market, people are going to do it. All right, so here we go. In the old days, I didn't have a weekly, but let's say you wanted to do this. Wiz, look at this chart, man. I mean, I would be honored if Apple in a month from now was up to its pre-PC, pre-COVID, 325. You could have the stock at that point, man. Well, let's take a look at what the May 325s are. Are there any? Is there any premium in it? Oops. Sell 10 of the May. Nah, there's really nothing in it. Never mind. Doing the weeklies is better. And the volatility implodes because never mind, that's stupid. Sometimes doing that. But let me wrap up with saying this, guys. The biggest risk to this tactic is what? The underlying. What could I do? Exactly, Steve. So Steve brings up some good math. 5% each week is better than what? 20% monthly because of what? Compounding, guys. When I say something's annualized, right? The annualized return. But anyway, the risk in Apple, ladies and gentlemen, in this beautiful, tremendous tactic is that the stock goes down. So what could you do to protect yourself? And I just gave away the answer with using the word protect. How could you protect yourself? You got it, Cheatin'. Buy puts. We could actually, well, Wiz, you brought in $4,500 on month. Look at this. So there's a 66% probability of making $4,500 this week. I brought in $4,500 into this account. What could I do? Man, I'm worried, Wiz. You scared the shit out of me. We might have another leg down. Well, why don't you go take some of that $9,500 and go buy some 225 puts? How are you going to finance them? You just brought in $4,500, dude. That tactic, folks, when you sell upside calls to go down and buy some downside puts, is called a what? This is called a collar. Right? It's called a collar, C-O-L-L-A-R. I sold some upside calls and brought in some coin, and I bought some downside puts to protect the long. Guess what hedge funds, quote unquote, are supposed to do? Hedge. So why don't you sell some upside calls and go buy some downside puts? Tremendous tactic. Okay, where's my postcard that I should be able to do my taxes on? That the president collar, Apple, long. I'm way out of time. I got a ton of stuff. I need to jump on this Amazon call. But we will cover a long call diagonal and synthetic stock. You don't have to do this with buying the shares. It ties up capital, man. You came here to learn how to trade options, but guess what? This is trading options, isn't it? Right? Dud, how long did it take you to feel comfortable trading options? So, Dud, my entry into the options world when I was a lowly ensign at Naval Air Station Key West was just this. At the time, Susie kept Ann Taylor in business, and we had an American Express. Those were the two stocks I bought, the first two stocks I ever bought. I think I still had the USAA trading slips. They came like carbon copied in the mail, like weeks later. I started selling upside calls against my Ann Taylor and American Express stock. I'm like, I remember the first couple trades. I'm like, I don't get this. This is free. Why? Where have you been all my life? And I can tell just by the questions and the comments in the chat box, 98% of you didn't watch the covered call brief because you should be sitting here going, you're welcome, Judy. Holy crap. Why am I not doing this? I don't know. That's why I'm stopping today. And this is accelerated retirement. And I took an hour and a half of your time to go through this, or about an hour of your time. Exactly, Michelle. This is, Ed, I answered that 5 times. This is a short position. The short calls, these are long shares. So net, it's the entire tactic is net long. Does that make sense? So this is a great, Michelle, as you just said, this is a great entryway. This is a great, quote, beginner tactic for those of you who trade, want to learn how to trade options, right? This is the good. Okay, this is the easy. Okay, and you know, so right now, let's. And I'm not going to cover that. That's a good question. But somebody's like, hey, well, what if you wanted to keep the stock in another week? You could do this, man. I'm not going to talk about it. You can go watch some training somewhere else. I just don't do it. You can roll these calls. I want to keep the stock another week. Okay, roll the calls out from this Friday's expiration to next Friday. You know what? I want to add, the thing's starting to get on a little climb. Okay, well, you can maybe roll the strike up a little bit, for next Friday. Or Friday. It's just, that's another hour lecture that I'm really not in the mood to give. Dwayne, thanks for going over Susie's account. When you mentioned it yesterday, you got me motivated again. I've done covered calls for years. Maybe have a Susie subscription where she can tell us what you've done with her IRA. You're welcome, man. Gupta, wonderful job today. Appreciate you walk through the. I actually enjoy doing this, guys, better than doing a ton of SO and T or SO. So we'll focus more on this type of stuff, walking through, hand holding through the tactic. Jeff, this is better than synthetic for weekly income. For same money invested, you can sell more covered calls owning the stock than with it. Yeah, I'd agree with that, Jeff. I'd agree with your math. Absolutely. Dawn, they can do that. Yeah, absolutely. Remember, somebody can take. Remember, when you're short something, I just said, when you sell something, you're obligated. I'm obligated to deliver 900 shares of Apple at $280. Yeah. So if this rocketed up to $290 today, Tim Cook is being replaced by Jesus, and the stock's up to 300 right now. Yeah, early exercise. But again, guys, I'm not going to sit here and go, oh my God, Susie could have made an extra 100. If you're oh my God, I could have made more money, you're going to flame out and die as an investor. I've seen it. Daryl, thanks, Wiz. I'm glad you know what I don't know, what I don't know. I love it. Reg, great job on the training. I remember it being my first option trades on the Quotron. The Quotron, oh my God, I remember that. Randy, any suggestions for lower price stocks, say less than $100? Let me wrap up on that because that's a good question. First of all, Randy, I don't trade what I don't know. Like when people ask me, like, could you tell me about Wiz's Semiconductors? I'm like, well, I love the name and it's obviously a great company, but I don't know shit about it, so no. I would not go based on the dollar amount. Please don't do that because you have to remember, even with a lot of people don't get it, like in solo Amazon. One contract of Amazon might be equal to like 100 of XLY. Do the one. Right? But there are scanners out there, to be honest with you, like Best Covered Call. You know what? You ready for this, man? Is this in here? Now we're going to learn together. In the Options House platform, I built, there was here we go. We had you ready for this? A covered call scanner. I'm gonna have to look, man. But we had it in in the options house thing. It would show you a stock with a good dividend. It actually did the whole thing. Elaine, good. Elaine, I used that scanner. It was great. Anybody know? I haven't done, guys, I got to be honest with you. I don't do this. Why? I'm not, I'll answer the question and see if I can find it, but here's how I'm going to deflect from it. Why wouldn't you do this? I mean, it's just, anyway. Yeah, no, it's a strategy secret, but there was it was actually, oh, wait, here, hold on. Damn it, no, strategy. I hate, it isn't a strategy, it's a tactic. Bullish, bearish, how about neutral? Does it, I don't know, man. 100, I don't get this. This is stupid. Target price. No, this is dumb. No, well, I don't know, folks. Well, I wouldn't do Boeing. God, no, I wouldn't do a Boeing. Even though Boeing might have, quote, a Pentagon put underneath it, you could, man. You could do this. I buy, with Susie having 100 grand, based on margin, maybe she could do 3,000 shares of Boeing and then sell, next Friday's, 7 times, sell 30 of these. Yeah, I mean, that's, folks, this gets in the big numbers. A couple years ago, I had a couple of very high net worth coaching clients that were making like 100 grand a week selling covered calls. They owned massive amounts of shares, and we just sat here and sold the upper calls. Rick, it's not a comparison, guys. My fingers were shaking typing in the symbol BA. Why God, no, man. I get that I said the other day that there might be a Pentagon put underneath it, but you don't want to be in it when they come out and say, you know what, we're going to declare bankruptcy first so the Pentagon can bail us out. Boeing is now at zero. Okay. Guess where you go as a shareholder if you didn't learn under Barack Hussein Obama? As a shareholder, the bondholders got wiped out under Obama in like General. Don't do it. Stop. I'm not even going to talk about Boeing anymore. I'm not. Okay. All right. What else? A lot of questions concerned. How about Raytheon? Guys, I'm spent, man. That's an hour and a half. That's a long freaking brief. So we'll talk Raytheon tomorrow. We'll do a weekly debrief tomorrow, but Raytheon and stuff like that. And yeah, I gotta, talk to my mom, talk Amazon, stuff like this. John, I don't know what the Thunderbirds and the Blue Angels are doing. They're obviously getting together to do some big kind of reopening America flyby. That's what I'm kind of hearing from people in a big building in the north. The president, that 4th of July celebration was probably the coolest thing I've ever seen. I remember I was on our friend's boat down in Miami. Their boat called a Mora, this massive 88-foot Pershing, and we watched the Trump 4th of July thing, America 4th of July thing, and it was fantastic. So if I was Donald Trump, so anyway, Dutch, that was a hell of a session. Wiz, you really laid it on the line. Thanks, man. And hey, guys, remember, there was 2 disclosure slides at the beginning. This is Susie's account. This is not mine. Susie certainly ain't giving you investment advice. She's not a registered investment advisor, broker dealer. But hopefully you got a lot out of this, man. I might, I could close these calls right now. I could close these calls, take the freaking $2,900, and then go out and do what are next Fridays? No, I can't. Never mind. Anyway, I'm not doing next Fridays right now. No wonder they were so juicy. But still, at the end of the day, folks, and this is why I drew this, and then I got to go. This is why I drew it like a wheel rolling downhill here. She started at the beginning of the year with about 300 shares of Apple. She's up to 900, and maybe this time next year I'll talk to you. And now she's swinging around 2,000 shares of Apple and selling upside calls. This is the conservative thing to do, and I really, again, we're in a training environment here. I can just tell that some of you have been throwing spears at targets. You don't even know what you're doing. Please consider doing this. James got me back on track with your covered call strategy. Awesome. Good, guys. All right. That was awesome. Perfect timing then. You're welcome, John. You're welcome, Michelle. All right, guys, I got to go. Whew, that was a workout. I'm gonna go have a cigarette. No, I'm kidding. You too, Dawn. Have a great rest of your day, guys. We have a debrief tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Brazil's the EWZ was looking good. FXI is looking fantastic, tremendous. Nobody does FXI better than us. Really happy with the trades for the week. Been having fun. Hopefully everybody's having fun. And then I think a couple more folks were jumping into the Afterburner group over here, and I'm looking forward to working with you guys. Okay, it's going to take probably an hour to render this recording, and then I'll get it posted as soon as I can. Okay, have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge. God bless. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.